Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. This is Pamela, and you are watching Pam Entertainment TV, where we review movies, television series, and incidents in pop culture to see if those incidents may or may not affect our daily lives. Listen, let's get into this. Let's get into this because there's a lot to get into. It is a lot to get into. So, yesterday I did a quick video in regards to new information in this Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni information. And I asked a question because when Blake Lively's team was asked, what did they think about the Justin Baldoni producing the video evidence in regards to this case? And she mentioned, well, it's just like, we expect for him to do that because it's basically DARVO. And I had stated, I thought DARVO was particularly exclusive to if someone was in a relationship. So I want to shout out Lily Rush because she gave me this information and I'm going to impart it to you. So shout out to you, Lily. I'm going to make sure I get this information out. But I also want to shout out Unapologetic Summer for the Cash App. I really do appreciate it. And I really do appreciate it, any and all of you all supporting this channel. I really, truly do. I'm doing the work because I have the subscribe. I'm doing the work because I have the subscribers, but I really do appreciate that you all that decide to support the channel. And again, if you're wanting to support the channel, just hit the like button. And if you like what you see, consider subscribing because I have a lot of a playlist of my celebrity legal news. I have a good playlist of the different shows that I am watching and that I am reviewing. And right now, the show that I'm reviewing and I'm getting ready to upload that video is Young, Famous, and African. I enjoy that show, so I'm going to review that show as well. So right now, looks like the swath of my channel that has been dedicated to is celebrity legal news because I'm telling you, these celebrities are cutting up out here. These celebrities are cutting up here. And if you see my shirt, this is in I'm quite sure this would have been a shirt that Blake Lively would have asked people to wear, wear your florals or anything like that. I'm being petty. I'm sorry. But anyway, I figured since I got my face together, I'm going to put on a cute little shirt. But let's continue. So let me find... Let me do this. Let me find the video that I want to show because we were talking about... this case, and I had mentioned DARVO, and I wasn't fully aware of it. But there is a video that I do want to share on my screen really quick to talk about what DARVO is, because I'd like to let the expert speak. And so this was a video posted on YouTube about a year ago, and it will explain. It's about 4 or 5 minutes, and we'll just go over it really, really quick so that everybody will be very much aware of what it is. We'll do commentary in regards to it as it's playing, because again, I want us to be as informed as we can. So here we go.
Dr. Darlene Lancer. Most emotional abuse goes unnoticed and unreported. And although it is an often overlooked form of abuse, that doesn't make it any less harmful or serious than physical abuse.
And I do want to say too that there is she has such a very calming voice. So you may find yourself lulled a little bit, but wake up. And I will continue to stop and bring my loud voice out here so that you can hear it. Okay. So this is going to give us what DARVO is, how it works out. Okay.
Dr. Lancer defines emotional abuse as behavior that is purposefully derogatory, controlling, punishing, or manipulative towards another person, both men and...
Let me go back really quick. This is what it's described as: manipulative behavior, DARVO, derogatory, controlling, punishing, and manipulative. So those 4 words, derogatory, controlling, punishing, and manipulative. And it's very clear that she says that men and women have the ability to do this tactic. Not just men, but we associate it with just men because That's how it's always been pulled out to us.
Manipulative towards another person. Both men and women can be victims of emotional abuse, explains Dr. Lancer. But unfortunately, many don't even realize when it's happening to them. One of the reasons why emotional abuse is so hard to recognize is because abusers will often blame their victims to deflect their wrongdoings, a common gaslighting and manipulation tactic called DARVO that you should be careful of. What is DARVO? The term DARVO was first coined and studied in 1997 by the University of Oregon psychology Professor Jennifer Joy Freyd, founder and president of the Center for Institutional Courage. She
So this acronym is, 97, how many years ago? That's probably 20 or 30 years. But when you're in the world of psychology and sociology, this is fairly new. And I guess people are now starting to see this phenomenon, this manipulation tactic, because manipulation has gone on forever. I just think that what I am very keen in on the fact is that this is a very specific type of manipulation tactic, and Blake Lively brought it up, so we're going to go ahead and review it really quick.
defines DARVO as a psychological manipulation tactic that generates self doubt and mistrust and exploits a lack of awareness in victims and those around them. It stands for D. Deny responsibility. A. Attack. R. Roles become reversed between the V. True victim and the O. Offender. Freyd first witnessed DARVO in instances of sexual assault.
So they become a dent. Let's go back. So we will be very clear.
Offender. Freyd first witnessed DARVO in instances of sexual assault, wherein those accused would often attack the victim's credibility and outright deny the allegations against them, making the public distrust the victims. In her 2017 study, together with fellow psychologists,
And that for me is what is always an instance that the manipulation tactic is so strong that by the time that you get swept up in it, because the true victim is always the person that's crying out, and their actions often look like the aggressive, and then the true aggressor looks like the victim. So let's say that the manipulator, the attacker, has been saying little side things about this person. The best example that I can think of is if you're in this relationship with someone, and as long as you're taking their abuse, they're fine. But as soon as you want to fight back, then they try to say things like, oh, well, you see, she's been acting a little crazy, since, and everything like that. And I've had to struggle to be able to handle this. And so by the time you really get to it, people who come in from the outside think the true victim is the aggressor and the aggressor is the victim. Let's continue.
Professor Eileen Zubriggen. Freyd found that victims of DARVO often end up blaming themselves and self-silencing. But DARVO can happen in friendships, family relationships, and even institutional dynamics, for example, workplace relationships too. Fortunately,
And that's what, and thank you so much, Lily, for giving me that information right here, because DARVO can happen in friendships, DARVO can happen in workplace, and it can happen family events. And I think, ladies, you'll see all of this too if you've been out in workplaces, and I've said this often and often before, where you get turned into the quote unquote angry Black woman. Because when you start defending yourself, all of a sudden the true aggressors, they get to crying, and I have a family and I just really wanted to be nice to her, but she just seems to be mad at me all the time. So recognizing that could also be DARVO as well. So by the time the whole thing gets thrown around on you, you're the angry Black person. You're not wanting to do anything, but you're just defending yourself from the microaggressions that are happening in the workplace. So let me continue. But it can handle it. It can happen in all of these difference, in your friendships, in your family, in your workplace, and I think that there's a fourth
workplace
one.
relationships too. Fortunately, educating yourself about DARVO makes it significantly less effective, helps you hold the true perpetrators accountable, and can stop their cycle of emotional abuse. DARVO in action. Amanda Kippert, editor-in-chief of DomesticShelters.org, describes the three-step method of DARVO manipulation as follows. Deny. Abusers will vehemently deny what they did and gaslight their victims into thinking that they're just making a big deal out of nothing. Attack. Abusers will then attack the victim's credibility by bringing up anything in the past that they can use against them. This is so like you, remember when? Or questioning their victim's mental.
They'll deny it and then they'll attack. And hear me well. Hindsight is 2020. We could go back and look at different situations and then come up with the fact that all of these little different things. And again, I am not an expert in this DARVO situation. I just am just fascinated by it. And if there's instances in this particular case that y'all can pick up on, y'all let me know, because I've picked up a couple of different things, but I can't. Is it the PR team doing this, or are these actual manipulation tactics? But let's continue.
Stability, values, and motives. Are you in your right state of mind? I can't believe the things you're saying. Why are you doing this to me?
I have had that now, because this is an eye-opening thing for me. I've had in a work relationship where specifically I'm doing my job, and the problem that I had was I did my job so well, they kept piling more work on me. And being young, you don't understand. You want to be able to do the best that you can. But they were piling more work on me where other people were not getting as much work. And so when I complained about it and made mention of it, then it was, well, I don't understand. You did this. I don't understand why you are acting this way about doing work. Everyone has the work to do. You need to be focused about the fact that you came in late Tuesday. And I'm like, I came in late because I called you and let you know. My car was acting up at that point, and I was late because my car was acting up and I couldn't get it started. And so they threw that at me. See, you came in late and we had to dock you because you came in late. But and it kept going, and so then it got to the point where I started to work as slow or as the other people, because I'm sick of getting all this extra work. I've got enough work to last me for 2 or 3 months the way that they work. It really was work that held me maybe like a week and a half. But as I would finish the week and a half of work that I had to do, they were piling on everybody else's week and a half work on me. And so when I came and I complained about it, they threw up like I was late, with the car, or they threw up that, because you have PTO and you can take your vacation, they threw that up in your face. So this is quite fascinating for me. Let's continue, because I don't want to be in this too long.
Verse, victim and defender. At this point, most victims will often become stunned into silence and confusion. They may even begin to believe what the abuser is telling them, which the abuser will likely take as an opportunity to manipulate the narrative further. They'll make themselves out to be the victim. I'm so hurt and betrayed that you could even think that about me. What kind of person accuses a loved one of that? And guilt the true victim for even speaking up about it in the first place. And in doing so, they overshadow what the victim was even trying to open up about, and force the true victim to defend themselves from the abuser and others instead of getting the help and support they need. Tips for coping with DARVO. Psychotherapist and trauma recovery specialist Dr. Heather Kent says that emotional abuse such as DARVO manipulation can be very difficult to recognize when you're on the receiving end of it. And often, it takes someone from the outside to help you realize what's actually happening and how it's not okay. The solution, Dr. Kent says, is to gain more awareness and get out of that situation as soon as possible. Professional counselor and trauma-focused CBT therapist Eric Patterson also encourages and empowers victims to resist DARVO by recording the story to reaffirm their perspectives, finding a safe space to heal from emotional distress, and seeking support from loved ones. Recognizing and countering their attacks, and role reversal. Education, Patterson says, is key to improved mental health and emotional wellness for victims of emotional abuse, manipulation, and toxic behaviors. So, what are your thoughts? Did any of the things we talked about here make you realize you might have been emotionally abused and manipulated by someone? If so, don't hesitate to seek help from loved ones and reach out to a mental health care professional. And always remember, psych-goers, you matter. Are you looking for a cuddly companion?
All right. Let me stop sharing that. So again, thank you, Lily, for opening my eyes on this. again, I've seen some different things from my past that I'm recognizing now were Darvo tactics. I didn't recognize it as first, uh, but I recognize that that's what I was seeing. And so let's really get into what we really came here to talk about. So let me add this. So there is this rumor that Ryan Reynolds is the problem. They're saying that Ryan is the problem in all of this. Now, we do know that Ryan has a role in all of these lawsuits because he's being sued just like Blake Lively is being sued. So, what's going on? What's going on? So, Ryan Reynolds is supposedly the one. The rumor is, and all of this is alleged. The rumor is that Ryan Reynolds is the one puppeteering this whole situation. And it's being puppeteered because he has a level of jealousy. He has a level of wanting to have control. And there are different people who have discussed this. This is not a Pam Entertainment TV theory. This is what I have gathered from looking into certain things. There are other folks that are mentioning this in this whole situation because it's difficult to try to figure out why this has escalated to the point that it has escalated, and where all this come from. Because you remember when I was reading those the complaints, and I always ask the question, what was the precipitating issue? What happened? They were just on the set for a couple of weeks. What happened in those couple of weeks? What happened in that area that this has come about? And so here is a theory. Now, this is what's tickling me. This is coming from Candace Owens. Now, if you're not familiar with Candace Owens was a big uh, Republican conservative pundit. I don't know if she's pretty much been kicked out of that space. So now she is in the same YouTube space, podcast space. She's talking about this case as well. And she's done some digging and things like that. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go over those things, but we're going to talk about Ryan Reynolds just as in relations to his relationships. And what's so interesting and why you would think what I'm going to be talking about was very intimidating for him. So let's see. We've got Ryan Reynolds. And if you did not know, Ryan Reynolds was in a relationship with Alanis Morissette from 2002 to 2007, and their relationship didn't work out. And again, shout out to Lily Rush. She showed me that once that relationship had broken up, Alanis Morissette had done an album, and she's done a complete song. And here is the name of the song. It's called Moratorium. So she did a moratorium of her whole relationship, and and it's detailed out in her in this song. And I'll read some of the lyrics. It says, I've never been this accountable less, and within. I've never known focuslessness on any form. I've never had this lack of ache for dalliance, to let go and let God in ways I have never imagined. I declare a moratorium on things, relationship. I declare a respite from the toils of a liaison. I do need a breather from the flavors of entanglement. I declare a full time out from all things commitment. In the next verse, that was the chorus I was reading. I never let my grasp soften fingers like this. I've never been careless, other less like autonomy's twin. I declare, that's the bread. And then we'll read the bridge. To breathe, to stop looking outside, stop searching in corners of room, not my business or timing. I never known freedom from intertwining. I start again, this time for keeps in my skin I'm residing. So she wrote there's a whole album, but these lyrics were very interesting to me, how she was re-examining that whole relationship that she had with Ryan Reynolds. Now, I'm going to continue to go over the things that I know in regards to these things, but let me know if you see a pattern creep up. If not, I'm going to tell you. So then we have Ryan Reynolds dating Scarlett Johansson, and him and Scarlett Johansson got married. I think they got married in 2008, and they were married they separated in 2010, and then the divorce was finished in 2011. So what was the issue in regards to their relationship? Apparently there was supposed to have been some cheating, and also apparently there was some issues about each other's career. And if you understand and know Scarlett Johansson, during this period of time, she started working with Marvel as Black Widow, so her salary and things like that increased. I know Ryan Reynolds was working with DC at the time, and he was the Green Lantern, and he did work with Marvel. He was Deadpool, I think, in the Fox. He was in the Fox section. He was working with the X-Men, and he was in that. So his career didn't take off like Scarlett Johansson's did. There was situations to where he wanted their relationship to be public, like his relationship with Alanis Morissette was public, and she was like, "No, I don't want to do that. That's not what I want to do." And so apparently, and again, this is all alleged. I'm just going back over the stuff that I read, that their relationship started to unravel. Again, there was cheating. There was suspected cheating on both sides, and then they separated. And in the midst of their separation, we have Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively. So they're still married to present. They got together. They met on the let me go back. They met on a set. They did a movie together, and that's where Scarlett Johansson and Ryan Reynolds met. Same situation that happened here in 2010. They met on the set of Green Lantern. They hit it off. They got married. His divorce. Now you see the date, 2010. They were still, him and Scarlett Johansson were still married at that time. Once that divorce was finalized in 2011, I believe that that's when Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds got married. So, and they are continues to be married to this day. So I asked you, did you all notice a pattern? So look at this slide. I give you about 5 seconds to look at it. Here's the next slide. I'll give you about 5 seconds to look at it. And here's the last slide. I give you 5 seconds to look at it. Did y'all notice a pattern? Let me see who's out here to go. How you doing, Loyalty 55? How you doing, Kai? Let me see what you got. This whole shift on Ryan is giving PR to me. People don't want to accept that she's the manipulator. If you read JB's lawsuit, he said Blake was manipulative. Blake was making the moves. Oh, I agree. I agree. And if you saw the thing about DARVO, and we were talking about manipulation, you can kind of see that. She pushed it out on him, but you can kind of see that. I'll put this back up again. There's that one slide. There's that second slide. And here's that third slide. All right. If you notice that Ryan Reynolds is never outside of a relationship, look at these end dates. He ended his relationship with Alanis Morissette. He did a movie in 2010, 2007. And who was he dating then? Scarlett Johansson. Look at the date, 2011. Their relationship goes south because, again, he meets somebody on a movie set. He met her on a movie set. He meets the next person on a movie set. Bam, what do you see? He's in a relationship. He's one of those types. My opinion, Pam Entertainment TV. He's one of those types. What am I talking about? He is one of those people that cannot be without somebody. He gives me the impression that he is a love bomber. He can't be without somebody. And if he cannot if he cannot have that level of control, again, I don't know these people from Adam. I just going by what I have just kind of researched the information, that the little things they had and some of the things that they've said. He's done a couple of interviews when he was talking about Alanis Morissette, how he was like, we need to be together. I try to do things that do our schedules so that we can always be together. I can be on tour with her, or she'll be at the set with me. He said those types of things. So it's always like you've got to be in his purview at all times. Same thing with Scarlett Johansson. There was always an issue and problem with their schedules, because their schedules their schedules weren't lining up. She would be on set with somebody else and he wouldn't like that. It was all of this stuff going up. All of this. So what am I saying? Let's get to this whole incident. Now, and this is where Candace Owens comes in, because Candace Owens has been doing a little research and talking to some of her connects in Hollywood. And she came across some information. Now, she put some information in her Instagram stories a couple of days ago. And as you all know, with Instagram stories, those Instagram stories go away. So I'm going to shout out. Let me remove this from the stage. I am going to add this. So let's shout out Steph with the deets, and we're going to go over this.
Instead of it ends with us. Lately, everyone is bashing Blake Lively, but
let me make sure that I'm on the right.
Apparently, the true villain in this saga is Ryan Reynolds. This person is alleging that everything started when Ryan decided to stroll onto the movie set one day and review the dailies. This is an industry.
That's interesting, because when we read the Justin Baldoni suing Blake Lively lawsuit, you remember that editor was saying that it was not industry standard for the actors to see copies of the dailies. You remember in that when we were reading that lawsuit, Blake Lively texted Justin Baldoni saying that someone wanted to see the information, wanting to see what they were working with. Let's continue.
Industry term for all the footage that they filmed that day. He then also decided to take a look at the script, and between the two, something allegedly set him off. This person claims the production assistants then overheard Ryan and Blake having an argument in her trailer.
What do you think that they were having an argument about? What kind of argument would you have? And who told Ryan Reynolds that he can come on somebody else's set? A set that he has no affiliation with, other than the fact that that's his wife's workplace. If you are married, can you walk on your spouse's job and tell them, "Hey, I need to see what the daily schedule is. I need to see where my wife or my husband is on this daily schedule. I need to see the budget forecast for what's going on for today." What spouse can walk into a spouse's job situation and get that information out? Let's be so for real. Again, all of this is alleged. This is what Candace Owens connects have said. But you think about that. He's looking at her script. What workplace do you know does something like that? And again, I have to continue to say this and continue to say this. This is all alleged. But we're just analyzing this alleged information. And again, hindsight is 2020. So we can always pop little different things in there. But we do know a couple of things. Some things kind of swirl with the truth. Now, I don't know about the timing of certain things, because we remember when we were reading in the lawsuit, it was saying going towards the they were getting ready to do these Justin Baldoni, because they knew about the strikes. They were getting ready to get offset, and he was making an instance to be able to combine the footage to start doing the edit from the dailies that they had already had. The footage that they already have. So somewhere, again, this is before this 17 point before I come back to work document is what I'm calling it. I know that there is a professional term, but that's how I remember it. Before this 17 point, you remember Blake Lively was asking for the dailies and asking for all the things and asking about the stuff that he had already edited. She wanted to be able to see it. Somebody wanted to see it, and we'll have to go back and see who that somebody was. But I don't think it was mentioned to be Ryan Reynolds, but it was somebody that wanted to see those dailies. Now remember I told you to pay attention to these dates. Pay attention to these dates. Now, this relationship, I failed to mention that he met her at a Drew Barrymore party. But the subsequent relationships that he had, he was in another relationship before he got into the new relationship. So he has met both of his spouses at the workplace, because he's intermingling and intertwining whatever they're doing as actors. So he feels like if I'm kissing and hugging in these particular instances and catch feelings, then I believe that you're kissing and hugging and catching feelings. Remember these dates. So let's continue.
Ryan and Blake, perhaps in response to her husband's anger, began inserting themselves in an effort to change lines and change scenes. It's clear Ryan was determined to humiliate and win against Justin Baldoni. He went so far as to include lines in his separate movie, Deadpool and Wolverine, about having an intimacy coordinator on set and making fun of Justin Baldoni's feminism and his podcast. Also, this is not the first time Ryan has used his character to humiliate someone he didn't like. Ryan Reynolds has been accused of this, shall we call it, character abuse in the past. In other words, he pretends he's acting, but he's not really acting at all. Let's take a look at what a Deadpool actor had to say about him.
No, he hates. We had a really weird moment on Deadpool where he said, let's do one more take. And then as the character, he was like horrifically mean to me. But to me, cathartic. As if I'm Weasel. So he was.
All right. And let me just say this. This is TJ Miller. This is I think this is the director of the initial Deadpool, talking about this behavior that Ryan Reynolds has shown to him. Now, Ryan Reynolds was in quote unquote character, but he was going off on this particular man.
It's like, what's great about you, Weasel? You're not the star, but you just, you do just enough exposition that is funny, and then we can leave and get back to the. That's exactly why he said that. How much riffing? Because I'm not funnier than he is at all, right? And I haven't been in more movies than him. I just kind of listened and thought it was weird, and then I got off stage because then they finally cut. I walked over. And the whole crew was acting weird. And then I went up to Kate and I was like, that was weird, right? And she was like, of course it was fucking weird. It was insane. And everybody was looking at each other like, what the fuck is he doing?
But Ryan then allegedly presented an ultimatum to WME, the biggest talent.
Now, WME is the talent agency. And again, all of this is alleged. WME is the talent agency that Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively, and Ryan Reynolds are a part of.
Agency in Hollywood whose client roster includes Taylor Swift to Justin Baldoni. So allegedly it was him, Blake Lively, and did we mention our bestie Taylor type of situation? And the source for this is a different source that would definitely know, Candace says. I would imagine having Taylor Swift as your best friend and godmother to your children certainly helps in these sort of situations. Justin Maldoni dropped by WME in the wake of the Blake harassment allegations. Looks like Khaleesi's Dragons won until what Ryan Reynolds did not apparently account for was someone bigger or perhaps even richer than Taylor who got unfairly dragged by his jealous Bender. Wayfair Studios had effectively been instantly blackballed, persona non grata in Hollywood instantly, and truly they had done nothing wrong but cast a woman into one of their movies with an allegedly very jealous husband. Her source says that Justin Maldoni is legitimately a good guy. And Candace Owens drops insider.
All right, there is a part 2. We're going to go over that part 2. But what are y'all thinking? What are y'all thinking? Now this is information dropped by Candace Owens, and all of it is alleged. Let's see what's going on. He's a J-Lo, never without somebody. Exactly. When I saw those dates, I was like, there was never no downtime. It was like, I got to be in a relationship. If I'm not in a relationship, who am I as a person? Blake was saying his words. He's part of what he's a part of what I do. I'm a part of what he does. Yes. Because again, this statement makes so much sense because when I was listening to the interview that he did when he was dating Alanis Morissette, he was very, he was making it come across like it was the best thing. And like I said, I'm not in Hollywood. I don't know how these people operate or whatever, but I do know that whatever they do, wherever they are on their jobs. And he was making it a point that when he was working, she was to be up under him. When she was working and going on tour, he was going to be up under her. They were not going to be apart because, again, he seems like the person. Remember those dates I showed you? He's not going to be without a relationship. So those dates are coming across. Now we start to see why Ryan Reynolds first outing as Deadpool in the X-Men movies. Yeah. And he was pissed off about that. Real talk. And that's why he was so adamant about doing Deadpool the way Deadpool is now. He was real upset about the fact that they taped his mouth shut. And he was upset on a personal level because he's used to being able to talk. He's used to being able to be the star. Could this be why Wes react the way he did towards Blake on Blade Trinity? Yes. It is my understanding, and this is allegedly, and this is why I didn't understand Urban Guru. I couldn't understand when he was doing all of this nice talk about Wesley Snipes being Blade, and we should want him to do another Blade movie and all this other stuff. When he was doing the Blade movie, he was trying to get his character. He was trying to rewrite the script about his own character. And then to come back and then throw a monkey wrench. You see how he did that? He had the internet ablaze for about a week where people were like, well, forget Mahershala Ali. Let's go ahead and get Wesley Snipes back to be Blade. I mean, they're only 10 years apart. It was a whole big mess. And I was sitting here like, no. For the past 5 years, you all have said that Mahershala Ali was going to be Blade. I want to see that thing. And he was trying to, I think, in that point, trying to manipulate himself, insert himself into something to where he could be able to make him a little money. So yeah, I'm gonna act like I had a good relationship with Wesley Snipes and push him out here. Let's see what the fandom is feeling and see where we can go from there. Thank you so much. I apologize. Tim Miller, TJ Miller, all of those things are just these names are just too much for me. Thank you so much, Kai. But yeah, so you think that this actor is very much keen aware that he's done all this, that he's done this stuff. So that's the second actor outside of Wesley Snipes, allegedly, that he has done some stuff too, and people are clocking him. Yes. And he was trying to rewrite the script so that would happen. He was very buddy with the screenwriters. He was very buddy with the producers on that so that he could do that, because they was changing and rewriting the script for him to have more screen time. Yes, I did. And you remember when I made that little petty little remark and someone mentioned that to me and I went and looked it up. I was like, okay, all right. A whole nother reason, a little inch in the tame. I'm not saying that that's what it was, but this is her Scarlett Johansson's directorial debut in this particular movie. So it's going to be interesting. So if the ex-wife is about to be a director, then I am going to be a PGA stamp behind my name. All right, let's continue. There is a part 2 to this, and I want us to get to it. Here we go.
Candace Owens drops insider information, and Wayfair Studios is backed by Steve Sarowitz. Steve is named in Blake Lively's lawsuit against Justin Baldoni, and he is a billionaire funder behind It Ends With Us, and he claims that Blake Lively was spreading vicious lies. I received this yesterday, and the person who wrote it was recently at a funeral, and afterwards everyone went to the family's house, one of them being Steve Sarowitz, who co-owns Wayfair with Justin Baldoni. This was the day before news broke about their lawsuit against the New York Times. He talked in detail about the shit they have on Blake and Ryan. He is worth billions and said he would use every last dime to clear Justin's name. He said that this is just the tip of the iceberg as far as the receipts go. He said that Blake was a nightmare and was doing this so she could have full control of the next movie. So this is an example of his jealousy when it came to Scarlett Johansson when they were married. Into Cosmo, Scarlett Johansson.
Now, again, let me go back because I need for y'all to go back. So this is around 2007, 2011 that she is referring to. Let's continue.
And without naming any names, said the logistics of being with another actor are challenging, or even if one person is more successful than the other, also proves challenging. There may be a competitive thing. We assume she's not talking about her current relationship and most likely about the 3 years she spent married to Reynolds. Information when you reflect on just how much Ryan inserted himself in the film and his weird pattern of acting his personal frustrations out, the following clip is going to be really weird. Ryan did this to help promote It Ends With Us. He brought in another A-lister, Hugh Jackman.
Cool. It's not every day the husband gets to interview his wife's love interest in a film. That's kind of crazy. So I saw you posing in a photo with Mrs. Reynolds, and sorry, what do you call her? Do you guys have a nickname or something? No, okay, no, just so it's Mrs.
Y'all see how creepy that is? Ariana, what are you doing here? What are what are you doing here, Ryan Reynolds? What is this? Why are you here? This makes no sense. Just this behavior alone makes no sense. This, because I would want to know the question. I don't know if it would be a logical question to ask, during the lawsuit, but I definitely want to know. Who does this? You're not even part of the movie. This is, and again, I am getting down to the basic level. You are on your wife's job, or, well, I'm going to say spouse, because it can go either way. You are on your spouse's job taking over. So can you imagine how uncomfortable the rest of the cast felt? But they're looking at his star power. They're looking at all of this other stuff. And Lord knows what was said to those other people, because a lot of people are like, well, why would the cast be with Blake or agree with Blake or do one of those other things? Let's continue.
It's not every day a guy gets to interview the love interest of his best friend's wife.
What is Hugh Jackman doing here? Now, let me go back, because you remember it was said somewhere, I can't remember where I read it, but I'll put up allegedly. You remember how it was said that they were trying to make this Deadpool Wolverine and it ends with us like a Barbie and Oppenheimer situation? But I don't remember doing that whole situation that the cast of Barbie was flooding Oppenheimer's interview junket. And I don't remember the people in Oppenheimer flooding the Barbie junket. Do you all remember any of that? I got my tea. It's hot. But these little cups keep things so hot that you got to take the lid off so the smoke can get out so you can drink it. I won't make that mistake again about not doing that, because I took a sip of it one time and burnt my tongue. I couldn't taste food for like 3 or 4 days because it didn't taste right because my tongue had was scalded. But where do they do that at? These two movies are no way interconnected. But Blake and Ryan thought that this would be a moment. Sure. Let's continue. And then Hugh Jackman is all up in the mix.
And the guy trying to replace Ryan.
She goes on to say that she thinks Blake was fine with everything in the movie that she signed on for, hence not requesting an intimacy coordinator. And then all that changed the day her husband showed up to set and allegedly blew a fuse. Maybe Ryan sensed real chemistry between them on camera when he reviewed the dailies, and he felt insecure because, well, Ryan himself tends to fall in love on set. So he tried to peacock Justin Baldoni, who is objectively more attractive than Ryan, by injecting himself into every layer of the movies and reminding Justin who the A-lister is.
You heard what she said. She caught feelings because that's how he met Scarlett Johansson on a set. And I've heard some of you, and I've read some of the comment sections, and that that people were saying that that's probably what happened. That he looked at the dailies and thought that there was a real big attraction. And there could not have been. I don't know. So are we thinking that he's the problem? Let's continue.
This is why Ryan was there every step of the way, and I sense it was him that demanded Justin be put in the basement for the premiere. Blake, in my view, was not discomforted by Justin, but by her husband, and she had to pretend to see things his way. This situation has now spiraled out of control, and at the center of it, a small man, Ryan Reynolds, with a fragile ego. And the only difference I will say that I have with this, when it comes to my opinion, is that I do think Blake Lively was completely on board for taking over the movie. Ryan even helped influence that by being like, you could have the rights to the sequel, like you'll be this big name, because you feel like Blake really wants to be a big name, kind of like her dragons, you know, Taylor, Ryan. But with that said, I don't think Blake / Khaleesi had any problem going ahead and doing the complaint, doing the lawsuit, because she really thought that they had this in the bag. They're the A-listers. He cannot even go up against. Blake was the one that referred to herself as Khaleesi, referred to Taylor and Ryan as her little monsters, and was basically bribing Justin. Candace Owens drops inside.
So that is part 2 so far. But you see what I'm talking about. Because then this 17 plan, because you remember when I was reading and I kept asking, they only filmed maybe like two weeks worth of stuff. And then they go on strike. And then the strike ends, what was it, in December? Both strikes, I think, concluded like in December. Then all of a sudden there's this letter, well, before we go back to work, there's some issues and problems that we need to address. What issues and problems? Let's see. All right. Hey, Victoria. Ryan is a multimillionaire. He probably doesn't want nannies and assistants raising his children. He wants his wife at home, pregnant, and taking care of their kids. He might be. He might be one of those personalities. You know, there are, again, I don't want anybody to mishear me because everything is not black and white. There's always shades of gray. But there are guys that love the professional women and all of that other stuff. They love all of that. They want those women. But then once they get those women, they want to turn them into traditional wives. And then there's always that conflict, or they get mad as to why won't you be this traditional wife that I want you to be? Well, okay, I'm not going to stop you working, but I'm definitely going to be able to, I definitely want to be in control of everything and every aspect of what you do. And these will be the same guys that won't assist you or help you. Well, you're the one that wanted to work, without looking at the fact that particularly if these professional women have gone out and gotten degrees and they're doing this job and they're doing a job that they love, and you're doing the job that you love, but they want these women, but they want them to change. I always look at it as like a wild Mustang. They see this wild Mustang. These wild Mustangs are really beautiful, but they want it. In order to have this wild Mustang and to keep this wild Mustang with them, they have to break them. And then once they break them, they're not what they wanted, because a broken Mustang is not going to be flowing and doing all the things that they did out in the wild. But I'll just continue. Let's continue. Where are we? Their egos won't let them. Yeah, it's like, now think on your job. Think as a regular person. Like I said, I know people in Hollywood. You may do a one acting job. You may do 1 to 2 acting jobs a year, but you get paid enough money, hopefully, that you can kind of spread out that particular year. But I just wouldn't want my spouse hovering at the job. You got a job to go to. But he's purposely not planning a job, and he has the money to be able to do that. He's purposely not planning the job like that, because he's got to figure out what you're doing, because that's how he that's how he got his spouses falling in love on the job. Wow. And side note, they said that Scorpios are top 3 as far as serial kill. Top 3, I think they're number 3. They're either number 2 or number 3. Then Sagittarius, then Cancers. Yes, they're both the problem. And I think that goes back to believing that Justin Baldoni wasn't going to fight back. And this is why, again, at the first of this thing, we were talking about DARVO, and they just insisted, because again, they were doing all, because again, this is what happens about handling business and being such a nice guy, because everybody is drawn to Justin because he's such a nice guy. But being such a nice guy can be manipulated, and now his reputation is on the line. Because think about it. His acquiescing to things for Blake that she was not contractually obligated to have caused him issues and problems. All right, we've got one more part, and there's a couple of other things that I want to go over. We have a part 3.
Part 3 to the Candace Owens inside information about Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni, but specifically Ryan Reynolds. Before going to bed, Candace Owens made this post on her story, and it is very interesting. She tells us to meet Tim Miller, who was apparently the director of Deadpool before Ryan Reynolds. Tim Miller, like Justin Baldoni, was a director of a film called Deadpool. It was the original Deadpool film in which Ryan Reynolds was cast as the lead role and given a producer credit. Do you get deja vu? Yes. Despite Miller's significant contribution to Deadpool's success, he left the franchise due to creative differences with Ryan Reynolds.
Creative differences. Creative differences. Are we seeing a pattern, people? Are we seeing a pattern? Don't know how all of this will play out in court, but do we see a pattern?
Reynolds. According to him, the actor wanted to control the franchise. Well, now we know where they got this idea from.
And you know who else had it? And if you don't believe that these things happen, you know who else had that issue too? Think about it. You remember The Rock, Dwayne Johnson? You remember how he played Black Adam over at DC? And he was trying to take control of the franchise, but the issue that he didn't encounter on is that all the top heads people were fired or let go, and James Gunn has been entered in, and James Gunn it ineffectively wiped out the DCEU. But he's another one that thought that was trying to control the franchise. He is an enemy of Shazam, but he wanted to take that character and set him up with Superman, and they were going to battle. And I don't know if you all are into all of this Marvel and DC news, but he was integral in getting Henry Cavill to come back, only for whatever it was that they were going to have Henry Cavill come back for was taken away when the old executives were fired, and James Gunn, and I can't think of the other man that's over there at DC that was taken over. They came in and they just pretty much said the DCEU is dead. But The Rock was one of those people that was trying to take over the franchise and turn it into his own little personal, where he was going to be fighting Superman and see who was more powerful, him or Superman, Black Adam or Superman. You are Shazam's enemy, nemesis. Go on back over there with Shazam and fight them kids. But let's continue.
Already done this. Candace says, I'm suddenly so nervous for Blake. I am not nervous for Blake. I think Blake and Ryan Reynolds are in this together. They are both at fault. And I say this after reading her text messages that were in the Justin Baldoni countersuit. She's not giving like innocent, naive. Like she is as much in this as her husband, in my opinion. And then Candace posted this where it says Ryan Reynolds reportedly wants to buy out Justin Baldoni from It Ends With Us at any cost.
And we went over this. You remember I did a video where I went over this, that they tried to buy him out because, again, they had put his reputation. First, his reputation was ruined with the cast. That didn't work. Then his reputation was ruined with the higher ups in, let's say, Hollywood and things like that. They were slowly doing those things. That wasn't working. And it may be because he had a backing of a billionaire. So then they decide that they're going to sue. And they felt like this was going to be the nail in the coffin because they want these rights. I told y'all it was all about money, and they were doing what they needed to do to get the rights for this film. Because if they get the rights to this film, then they control all of those things. And I bet you, just like the North is the North and the South is the South, Ryan was going to cast himself as her love interest. But let's continue.
And this was reported months ago, back in October. And obviously, if Ryan Reynolds were to buy it out, that would mean that Blake Lively would get to reprise her role in the sequel. I never knew about Tim Miller and about Deadpool. That's crazy. Also important to note that Blake Lively claiming harassment from Justin Baldoni. Let's say this is all just to take the movie like we've been thinking. And let's say it's because of Ryan being jealous. Those are still very serious allegations that she has said that are not true that can ruin someone's career. And that is why, no, I don't sit here feeling bad for Blake Lively. Sorry. I don't know. Part 3 to the...
All right. Shout out to Stephanie with the deets. All right. So then I want to go over a couple of TikToks. I want to go over a couple of TikToks that I saw in regards to this, and we will be moseying along. So let me see what y'all are thinking. What are y'all talking about? I don't know if that was, here he is. Yeah, he's definitely the problem. He could have stopped this nonsense, but he chose to let this play out, ended his wife's career. He doesn't give me like he thought about all of that at all. He was looking at, it wasn't oh well, let's do this and see if we're taking a gamble. No, it was like, I am Ryan Reynolds, you are Blake Lively, we are who we are. Because you remember they mentioned about Blake Lively putting her position to power. I'm besties with Taylor Swift. My husband is besties with Hugh Jackman. These are people that you all would want to work with. And I'm Khaleesi and they're my dragons. And if I sick my dragons on you, you're going to feel the fire. You're going to feel the pain. I'm paraphrasing and doing an impromptu schedule thing. Okay. It's about power. That's all it is. That's all it's ever been. But I do not think that they thought that Justin has the backing that they are. Because again, this is Hollywood. And like I said, I'm covering this because of the fact that I am fascinated about these PR teams and how PR is put out here, and where you think that there is this source, or like the person who's in the back of the stage and they're hearing all of this. No, you're hearing this information because the PR person is being the quote unquote source. Fascinating. She asked for the dailies so Ryan could edit them. Well, he wouldn't have had the ability to do that at that point. I don't think it was about editing. I think he wanted to see what she was up to. Now, this is Pam Entertainment TV's. This is my scenario. She's going to work. She has a guy who was willing to be collaborative with her because she felt like she hadn't been seen in any of her other things. And she's talking, she's doing all of this other stuff. She's excited, though I'm not excusing the manipulation tactic. I'm just telling you how it rolls in my head. She goes home. She feeds the kids. She sits down, has a glass of wine. She's talking to her husband, and she's talking about all the stuff that's going on. He's smiling in her face. Good job, good job, good job. But on the inside, he's seething. So think about that. Now think about when she talked about the wardrobe. I would love to see what were the pieces that that character was supposed to be wearing. Because you remember in the complaint that Justin Baldoni put down there, she took over the wardrobe. And the wardrobe had to be taken to where? Her house. She was adamant about that, even though it cost money. Why? because her husband had to make sure that she wasn't wearing something that he thought would attract, he's looking for the pieces that would attract him. So therefore, if those pieces attract him, they were going to attract Justin. He wanted those pieces to be taken away. This is why that wardrobe look a mess. So now he's looking at the fact the way this wardrobe is. No. We're not having that. We're not having that. This is what we're going to do. You're going to bring those clothes home to me. Let me do this. Let me go out here and see what's going on this set. Because they got you wearing clothes. No. Now, mind you, this woman has just had a baby. Again, this is nothing that I can prove. I'm just telling you how it would roll in my head. She gets out there. The strikes and things are looming. They are putting up as much stuff that they got to put up. She texts him, I know I'm not supposed to see it and I know things, but I'm over here. Would you mind sending me the dailies? Gets the daily. He sees that dancing scene. Where's your intimacy coordinator, Blake? Why are you hugged up against him like that? There should have been another way that you could do it. You didn't have to be that close. Again, this is Pam. Again, this is me talking. Y'all ain't got to believe nothing I'm telling you. So those things are pushed forth. And now we've got the initial thing, because again, this had Justin not acquiesced to any of these things, I think there would have been a different shift. So now you're blindsided because you come back because you think, I'm working with this person who's collaborative. No, you're working with someone who does not want to offend her husband because she got him. Because how she got him, because how you get him is how you lose him. Now that's my mother talking. That's that old school thing. You get you get a man cheating. That's how you gonna lose him cheating. You get a woman cheating and embezzling. That's how you gonna lose him. She's gonna take all your money. So now we have all of this, and she can't go back on it. And she was empowered because her dragons helped her. So now she's sitting up here thinking that she's untouchable. Can y'all see me? Let me know in the comments if you can see me. Okay, because I don't know what's going on with my computer, but my I'm on my phone, y'all. I don't know what happened with my computer, but my it's saying that it doesn't have the connection to my internet, so I'm doing a little scan real quickly. But I still wanted to kind of go over with you all. There were some TikToks that I wanted to be able to show. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show them to you all because everything that I have up is telling me that there's an error. I am not sure why my internet has gone down over here. We'll click it again. Okay, looks like something is going up. Hold up. Oh, crazy. No, don't. Sorry, y'all. Let me see. All right. Whew. Now let me know if you can hear me again. And then I'll continue. Okay. I'm going to continue. I apologize for that. I don't know what happened. It's just like everything just went bloop, bloop. All right. So we were talking about old Mr. Ryan. Did we think he was the problem? And I wanted to acknowledge, thank you so much, Victoria, for the 1999 super sticker. I really do appreciate it. And I really do appreciate you all that are supporting my channel. You just do not know. I have been doing this for doing reviews and doing things for years, and I didn't realize that my back passion of watching court watching court hearings and all those different things and reading lawsuits and going over what I thought about these lawsuits, I didn't think that that was such a big impact, but that has been a big push with my channel. And those of you all that are supporting me, I really do appreciate it. I really truly do. So let's get back to this, Mr. Ryan. Now I have a couple of TikToks that I wanted to go over. Oh, please. And they have, can I refresh it? Can I yes. All right. So let's get to this. Let's get to these TikToks. Let me share my screen with these things. Let me remove him from the stage. Let me get to, because all right. So let's share this. This is Shannon Hill News. So let's listen to her TikTok.
Conservative or a Democrat or wherever you fall on the political spectrum, we are all pretty much thinking the same thing about Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively. And today, Candace Owens posted to her story that an insider leaked her some information about the whole Blake, Ryan Reynolds, and Justin Baldoni situation. She posted a series of stories explaining what she believed happened based on what the source said, and basically, it was a Ryan Reynolds takeover. Blake apparently wasn't the triggering source. That Ryan came on set one day, watched several hours of footage and felt very uncomfortable about what was going on between Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively. Blake and Ryan got into an argument in her trailer and people overheard this. And right after that argument, it was a Ryan Reynolds takeover. He basically used his A-lister power to start.
Now that was a piece that she did because I know that this is like a repeat of the information, but she put in a piece in there that they did not have in the other one. She said that he reviewed the footage and Blake and Ryan had an argument in the trailer, that people overheard them having an argument in the trailer. Let's continue.
Rewriting scenes, making edits to the movie, and basically taking the rights to the production. Then on top of,
and we know that to be true because Blake Lively said it out of her mouth herself. Blake Lively say, well, people just don't know, but my husband wrote the such and such scene and my husband did this. She was doing it as it was something, but she was basically saying that he was taking over the daggone show.
all of that, the talent agency that Blake and Ryan are a part of is also the same talent agency that Justin Baldoni is a part of, and Blake and Ryan's good friend Taylor Swift. Whatever it is that Ryan Reynolds saw in the footage made him feel so uncomfortable that he threatened the talent agency that him and Blake would be gone if they didn't drop Justin Baldoni. And of course, they probably swung the fact that they are BFFs with Taylor Swift, Godmother of the Year. And Blake seemed to go along with all of it, maybe because she felt somewhat traumatized in her marriage and felt the need to kind of jump on board with her husband immediately. And the whole Deadpool scene where Ryan is imitating Justin Baldoni and making a comment about being a feminist is truly about Justin Baldoni. So yeah, this was basically a Ryan Reynolds takeover. Blake had to jump on the bandwagon of her husband. I don't fully believe that Blake just jumped on Ryan's bandwagon and was an innocent bystander. I think she was actually being a huge brat. But I certainly believe that Ryan Reynolds was in charge of all of the moves that took place. And let's be real, this sexual harassment complaint is probably going to ruin Blake Lively's career. I hate to say that. I just think that it is going to make her look really bad in the public eye. In the people's court, Justin Baldoni is winning right now, and it's very clear that things were very fabricated on the Blake and Ryan front. Go read Candace's stories. It seems pretty realistic, and I have heard this theory before.
All right. And y'all, again, now this goes through my conspiratorial and petty mind. What if that is the goal after all? You remember she said that it's going to ruin her career. What if that's the goal after all? Because she's going to be home with the kids. She's not going to be out here acting or doing anything. She's going to be home with the kids. What if that's the goal after all? That's my conspiratorial mind. And that's just Pam Entertainment TV. I'm not telling y'all that that's what's happening. But what if that's the goal after all? Now, my second TikTok that I have that I want to share basically has to do with, I should have played this first, but I had mentioned it. So let me do this. Let me share this tab and they can go over this. And then this is Celebrity Express. These are the people that are doing this. Now, you remember how in contrast that was for him and Alanis. That was in contrast for him and Alanis. They were always out. They were always with each other. He was at her place of business. She was at his. All right. Let me stop sharing. And we don't have that much more to go. We don't have much more to go because that was pretty much. I don't know if the blackout hadn't happened or whatever happened in that little case, but I'll figure it out before I do my next stream, because I am going to be covering the ASAP Rocky case. Apparently they're doing it live. We saw a little bit earlier, so if you all are interested in watching court cases and we give our little opinions about the court cases, definitely watch my next stream, because I'm going to go back into that particular stream. We're going to be going over the ASAP Rocky case as well. I'm doing that on my channel. But that's all the information that I have. What do you all think about this information right now? Because again, all of this is rumor and speculative. It doesn't have any big bearing on the lawsuits at hand. However, it seems like it's giving us a clearer picture of what's going on. And do we think Ryan is the problem? We are not absolving Blake Lively of anything. I don't want this to turn into, oh, she was the innocent look. No, we're not absolving her of anything. What I'm saying is, I think he was the catalyst to all of this. Because had he not been at her place of business, and I believe now we just went over this whole situation. Now y'all think back to the information that we went over in that lawsuit. Why did it suck? Because remember, she wouldn't come to the set and approve the wardrobe. The wardrobe had to be taken to her home. The wardrobe had to be taken to her home. And who was at the house? Ryan. So where she probably would have had a pencil skirt on, you have her in these big baggy clothes. By design. This right here is probably the $1 million comment. He approved all her wardrobe. So that's why the wardrobe looked the way it was. Why would she say, oh, well, this will be sexy, a beanie? A beanie? A little thing you put on your head, a little hat, like a Scully? Why would that be attractive? Again, that was the inch. Oh, I see. I can control the wardrobe. Yeah. Because, see, I read those days. I seen the script. I came to the set. I saw how you all were interacting. Nope. We're changing the wardrobe. Probably very expensive pieces, but those pieces were not beautiful, they weren't coordinated right. But do we think that was by design? If we think that he is the problem, do we think that was by design? Do you think those script edits were by design? You remember she mentioned her husband. Now think about that dance sequence that we were made privy to. And how uncomfortable you can tell she was uncomfortable, but she wasn't being harassed. She knew that her husband was going to watch these dailies. So she made sure to mention, my husband and I, we just talk through everything. She's not absolved. But this sheds just a little turn on it. A mess. This is a mess. This, like I said, we're covering the information. We'll cover all the factual information, but also I want to cover some of the speculative information because again, it's we may never have the insight. Like I said, I do not know if we'll be able to be in this courtroom to be able to hear all this stuff. I don't even know that it's going to make it to court, because you're talking about a docket that they probably won't get on the docket until 2026. So hopefully there's a settlement made by then. And with prejudice, so they can never come back up with this particular case again. If they do that, I do see possibly that their careers could recover. But as it always ends, if you look between Blake Lively's career and Ryan Reynolds' career, usually with women, their careers will never recover. His career will recover because people see that type of behavior as indicative of a go-getter, and not realizing that manipulative behavior can get you in trouble. But I hope that they settle. I do. I hope that they settle and they realize, hey, we need to let this go, because what's happening in instance is that Blake's reputation is not looking too good in the court of public opinion. And Ryan can't carry that. Because I'm of the opinion that you need to be in you need to handle this out in court. But you asking for a gag order for stuff that you all started is, for me, is ridiculous. You're not wanting someone to respond. And that's why I put the DARVO piece in the beginning of this, because I was confused. I was just confused as why that they would use that. But I see that you could say that that was something that would happen in the workplace. But I'm not seeing, from this information that was put out, the evidence that they have put out with that particular, with the text messages and with all those things, I'm not seeing harassment. I'm not seeing where he solicited you for anything. You think it'll go to court? And Loyalty says, I don't think it's going to court. Married to a successful Scorpion man. I get it. Y'all are killing me with this. Ryan's hands are all over it from the jump. Again, that's why I was very specific about asking you all, what did you notice? He's a person that can't be without someone, and he wants to be able to control him. He wants to be able to have a level of control about what's going on. You remember I talked about with Alanis, they coordinated their schedules so that he went on tour with her, and then she was at whatever set or something that he was on, she was there. But then he gets on set with someone else. And the next thing you know, they're in love. Hot and heavy. But as soon as they couldn't get those careers to match up, He couldn't be on set with Marvel like he wanted to. And shoot, let's be clear. Chris Evans was on set. Chris Hemsworth was on set. And if you're into it, Robert Downey Jr. was on set. Mark Ruffalo. She was holding her own with three men who good actors. Hell, Samuel Jackson was on there too. And you knew he couldn't, he had to be on that set to figure out what was going on. And her personality was probably like, no, this is my job. You're not going to come up on my job cutting up, acting a fool. So no, sir, you're not going to be here. And he couldn't handle that. Hold on, y'all. I was looking up because y'all were talking about these little signs and stuff like that. I looked up Scarlett Johansson, and she's a Sagittarius. And if you've known any Sagittarius, my brother is a Sagittarius. You're not gonna be able to tell him what you gonna do, when you gonna do, and how you do it. So I'm just making the biggest leap that's the same way with Miss Johansson, and he was not getting his way. So what happens? He's on set with Green Lantern, and he meets this one. And it says here she's a Virgo. Now, I'm not familiar with all of that. I don't know the ins and outs of Virgos. Y'all let me know. I'm not really sure. I don't know how Virgos and Scorpios compatible. Let me stop. I'm sorry. We will not get this into zodiac signs, but I'm just, if you know it, just put it down in the comments. But we're not going to get into all of that. But I think, again, she's trying to save face. She wants to be considered a credible actress. She's on a film that could possibly do that for her. I mean, from what you all say and the way you all say that this book is written, this could have been a role for her had she not tried to rub it up, flip it, and turn it around. This would have been a great role that possibly could have had some award contention. I don't know about maybe an Emmy award. I don't know about Oscar, maybe a Golden Globe, maybe a SAG award. I don't know, y'all. This understanding or getting some insight. Like I said, this all of this is alleged. This comes from Candace Owens, her IG stories, and with IG stories, they only last 24 hours and then they're gone. So this is information that she just wanted to throw out there, and then it be gone forever after. But people will screen grab all your little stuff. But Blake is not innocent in this. She knew exactly what she was doing. I think her head was filled with, oh, well, you could take over and you could be in the sequel and you could make some money, because I don't think anybody thought it was going to make as much as it made. You start off with a $20 million budget, and then worldwide, you hit over $300 million. That is because in Hollywood, in order for a film to be successful, you got to make you factor in the film budget, you factor in the marketing. You get that price, and you've got to make 3 times that price, that budget, in order for a film to be considered successful. 2.5 times. this was more than successful, more than successful, more than successful. So it requires, you would be foolish not to make a second, a sequel. It requires it. And now your budget, because it was such $20 million, may triple to 60 million. You'll have a $60 million budget to make the second movie. And who doesn't want to be a part of that? And if you've got that PGA behind your name, I am believing that you do get a percentage of the movie. Don't quote me, I'm not sure, but I believe you get a good percentage of this movie. Hold on. Ryan hasn't had a movie hit that's outside of Deadpool. Might be a problem. Well, I can tell you this: he business wise, even if his movies are not the biggest hit, he knows how to parlay any of that for him to be able to make money. Because as we have seen, even all the movies that he's had, he has definitely made a good living, whether he's the writer, the producer, or whatever. He's getting a good chunk of change. If they settle, Justin will lose. Well, it depends. Because I'm looking at settlement in the fact that they come out publicly and say the man didn't harass them. He could say she can come back and be in the sequel of the movie, but Ryan Reynolds, it'd be written down in stone that he don't come on set, that he doesn't, he has no influence on the thing. When she's hired, she's going to be contractually hired just to be the actress. And any other little caveats and things like that. I think that would be, if she wants to be able to do anything to save face, if she wants to save her career, I think that's just me speaking. That's this kind of settlement that I would have, that you come out and you say, we're dropping the charges. We've decided to settle, and whatever apology, whatever he's comfortable with in regards to apologies. He can say, she can come back to the set, but she's going to be contractually obligated to be the actress. I'd even go so far, if I was him, I would not be the person doing the acting role. I would either be the director or the producer, because whatever it is, he can only concentrate on one thing. If he's going to be the director, he needs to be the director and get his artistic thing, because him trying to sit back and trying to act and do, no, that's not his wheelhouse. And we've seen just by reading those things, I don't personally think that this wheelhouse, they can figure out how to settle that, where it'll be a compromise. Each one of them will lose something, but I think that they can come out with their integrity intact, and at least to the fact that they'll be able to work in Hollywood again. Yeah, I think an apology would be okay. Scrubbing their IGs. I wonder what for. I wonder why. What do they not want us to see? Because if she won't be able to scrub any interviews, maybe her personality is coming out in her IGs. Maybe her showing that she was promoting her products while she's supposed to be doing this film is coming out. Baldoni, I believe, will not drop the New York Times defamation, and everything will come out there. You right. But I believe that if Blake and Ryan drop theirs, Stephanie is going to drop hers as well. Stephanie Jones. The majority of the people already know the truth. They've already seen the receipt. Justin is good. Yeah, but here's the thing. All of these things are nice. There's such a big difference of the court of public opinion and the court of law. Because like I said, some of these things that we're talking about in the court of public opinion may not make it into a court. And when you have a jury, they're to disregard everything going on in the public, though I know that's difficult, but that's what they're supposed to, and go on what the evidence that's been set in front of them. So if it's one thing, that's why I said it's important, but it's not going to win you. We talking about $400 million, and again, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds together are worth like $330 million. Justin Baldoni is worth what, $4 or $5 million, and then you're talking about one of you all getting sued, and someone wins, and it's like 400 or whatever the price is being told. That's a lot to put on the line. I don't think it'll go to court. We'll see. The next probably 6 or 7 months is going to determine if it continues to stay in the zeitgeist of public opinion. One party is going to make a decision to sue or not, because again, they're not going to get put on the docket, I don't think, until next year. The earliest that I could think that they'd get put on the docket because Blake filed first. The earliest that I would see would be at the end of the year. But with the way that Trump is rearranging everything, they may not be in there till next year, the year after that. Exactly. This I believe with they were banking on people going off of her word and her word only. They weren't banking on the fact that there was video with the video was going to have audio, and the just visually you were going to be able to leave it up to interpretation. But now that you have audio with it, you get such a clearer picture about what's going on in that scene, and you do hear him. He's directing a scene. Even though this is for a montage, a dance scene, and the speaking parts were not going to be heard, but you heard him directing through there. You heard the assistant director holler about, do their directing so that they can direct them in that scene. And then she's talking, she's saying all these other different things. No. And that's why I'm still conflicted. I really don't want it to happen. The YouTuber in me, the content creator in me, wants the website to come out because I want to be able to go through it and dissect all the little stuff like that. But the person that understands when you go into a court of law, you don't want to put all that information, because what happens with content creators, they start digging. We start digging and moving and going through other people's stuff and pulling things up, which is why this right here is happening. Because they figured if you lied about that, what else are you lying about? Well, we don't want you to go back through our stuff and see anything. But I don't want Justin's lawyer and I don't want Blake's lawyer to show their hand. I want them to go to court. I want them to duke it out there. Exactly. This hangs over Justin's head because of the allegations. And that's why I was saying, and when I talked about DARVO in the front, because when these allegations come out in Hollywood, they do not work with you for anything. Nothing. They distance themselves from you. Anytime you have an allegation. I don't know if any of you were following me when I followed the Jonathan Majors case. You saw how he lost all of the stuff that he had when the allegations first came out. And he hadn't even gone into a court of law. You hear now that Chris Brown is suing for defamation. And you see how his career hasn't reached the heights where people think with him and all his talent should be, because of, you know, his relationship with, you know, and his case against Rihanna, and his behaviors when he was dating Karrueche Tran. So anything that comes out, people are more believable. People will more believe that it's true, even though that they don't have the evidence. Even if there's evidence to back up that it's not true, the court of public opinion will believe it's true, and you will have all the think pieces about it when it's true. But then when it's proven wrong, or if it's proven right, you won't hear those same think pieces. If it's proven wrong, you won't hear those same people be very vigilant to talk about how something is wrong or incorrect. So that's that. Yes, she has a whole album. Let's go back to Flowers of Entanglement. And this was the song Moratorium. Yes, ma'am. She has a whole song. Oh yeah. I just can hear her sit up there. I can hear it. I can definitely hear it. That she put all that stuff in there, and everybody is supposed to believe her. Because if we get into this socially, she's a blonde white woman, and if she says something, it is to be believed, whether it's the truth or not. I could see her face, I could see her face. Audio? What do you mean audio? It was just supposed to be filming the visual film of us dancing. There wasn't supposed to be any audio. That's why you felt so comfortable to say what you say. You see how comfortable you see how comfortable she was talking about this man needed a nose job. Child, please. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, we peeped all that. Let's get through here. Look at the dates. Look at the dates in his relationship. If we're just focusing on Ryan Reynolds, and I said before, check out the dates: 2002 to 2007, 2007 to 2011, 2010 to present. We know clearly that he's one of those. I definitely think he's the problem. I'm not looking at her of being a victim, because her personality is still the same. You remember I showed you in the last video that I did of them, where she was talking, because she didn't know Ryan Reynolds existed at that point, when she was talking about, oh my gosh, I'm a geek. And the guy said, I hate when girls that are cute always talking about they were geek. And then she went into this whole tirade about, I liked this guy. He was a geek, and I was trying to get to know. I was trying to see what he was doing. And I put on my spray tan, and it was darker, and I put on an afro, so I looked like a black girl, and I was stalking him. Do I think he is the problem? Yes, she's still a problem too. But she understands how her husband is. crazy. And we'll go with that. We'll go with that. But again, you're talking about two people that are in Hollywood. And her being unlikable just didn't manifest itself. You got to go back to the Gossip Girl days. You got to go to the days, what was that? The Traveling Pants, whatever that little movie was. You got to go back to those days. P. Because Marvel is probably upset and in a pickle because they may or may not have understood why those lines were put in there for the first place. You're using our whole picture and hear me clearly. Deadpool and Wolverine. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Deadpool and Wolverine worldwide made over $1 billion. They made over $1 billion. And if it can be shown now, my legal eagles, y'all talk to me. If it can be shown that Ryan Reynolds used his ability to be a writer and a producer on this show, and in this, he mocked and bullied a man in this show. Marvel is probably trying to figure out whether or not that they might, has Ryan Reynolds messed around and brought them into something that they don't want to be a party to. Who is Brian? Or are you talking about Ryan? Right. Okay. And again, if that's the case, because we're just talking about it like this. But if this is the case, her in that wardrobe was she wanted to control that wardrobe, and then Ryan's like, what you thought? Because you remember during the press release, she wore all her florals. Everything was about a floral. She lied about the. You remember Kendrick Lamar did that little part on Meet the Grams. She lied about the wardrobe. She lied about her role. She lied about him smelling on her and saying that she was gold. She lied. I'm sorry. Woo. You don't know, but still. Oh, let's see what we got. Pam. Their peers are watching. They see it, they hear it, they see and hear that dance scene. Nothing untoward happened. Does every interaction, a glance or touch, need to be choreographed? No. Because they had their direction before they started that scene. I wish we had the script and we could definitely go in and figure out what that was, but they had the directions when they went into that scene. That they were supposed to be dancing, they were supposed to be like they were in love. He was his interpretation was he's going to look into your eyes. Her interpretation was she was going to babble all through the scene. There was, like you said, there was nothing untoward going on in there. Everything was, he was direct, he was doing his job, he was directing, he was dancing, he was listening to her. Of course not. I again, there's a whole lot of stuff going on. I'm gonna go through some more of these comments. A settlement will include Justin asking for specific things to be released by BL's team to the public. I don't think he settles without his reputation. Exactly. 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 There's going to have to be some huge compromises. And if they're going to be the ones to settle, he's going to be the one to be able to control. I think he's going to be able to control that. Because again, you're talking about people with $300 something million versus someone who makes like five. I'm just going to say, even with this movie coming out, at the most, he probably has like $20 million, let's say. I'm not trying to count people's pockets, but there's definitely, because of the fact, I don't care what WME wants to say that they didn't do. There's no way that you're not going to make me believe that Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and Taylor Swift didn't put some type of ultimatum up to you to get rid of Justin Baldoni, because who's he? I didn't follow them like that. The only thing that I remember about Blake Lively is that she wore that real beautiful dress to the Met Gala a couple of years ago, and I just fell in love with that dress. I didn't know anything about her until we started taking this. But remember when Blake was at the Super Bowl with Taylor, and Ryan tweeted, "Has anyone seen my wife?" Thank you. Thank you, Kate. Because I'll throw a conspiracy or something in there just as quick as you can, because you got to kind of think of these things. And I say conspiracy, but I'm just thinking about, when things don't make sense, because I've said before in my other thing, what was that precipitating factor for all of this stuff to go to hell in a handbasket? Ryan going on set, Ryan being on set. If every detail needs to be storyboarded. Yeah, because I'm familiar with the fact that they do those storyboards so they'll know how the scene is supposed to move, where they're supposed to go, and all this other stuff. But but also too, sometimes there's always a little leeway for a little improvisation. Hmm. You know what? If they had good lawyers, and if they had people working with them in social media, and if these PR people are as good as their salt, child, their whole Instagram was screenshotted or whatever they do. They would have had all issues of their Instagram. Very much so. And again, I've always said two things can be true at the same time. I said that Justin Baldoni could be too accommodating, a people pleaser, and she could be just as stupid, goofy, and tone deaf as she wants to be. She wants to believe that someone ruined her reputation with the public. You did that. You didn't read the book. You had no clue of the gravity of all these things when you're talking about domestic violence. You didn't have the gravity for it. What were you worried about? Come and wear your florals. And, we've got a cocktail. And here, put this makeup on your face. Just as tone deaf. But that has to be somebody else's fault. That can't be my fault. Everyone loves me. But we see you in the interviews. We see how you interact with your castmates. We see how you talk, and then you have that same type of what you believe is, I call it brash sense of humor, deprecating sense of humor. I know y'all saw that the interview that she did, and she was talking about, well, we started off in cages, knowing that her co-star was born in jail. That was a dig at your co-star. Oh, it was a joke. That's not a joke to her. Her life is not a joke. We kind of feel what your personality is. You're the one that got married on a slave plantation. You're the person that was in the interview when the lady said, "Congratulations on your baby bump." You took that to mean something else, and you shut this woman out of her own interview. You're the person that worked with Woody Allen, who married his stepdaughter. Ugh. You were the one that was, and your PR person were possibly besties with Harvey Weinstein. We remember the interviews from the, what is that? The traveling pants gals. We remember that. We remember that you had some issues on Gossip Girls. We remember that. That's all her. Prior to her even looking Ryan Reynolds' way. It's not. It's not. There's a lot of actors and directors, and they do a really good job. But for him, Justin gives me that he has to have one role and stick with that role. It's not going to go to court. Oh, I'd love to hear his perspective. I'd love to hear his perspective. Not the Dragon's Mounted, but we all know what happened to Khaleesi. We know what happened to her. She was taken out of here with a guy with a bun on his head. So I'm going to leave that right there. Okay. Now, is it Anik or Anike? The biggest mistake they made was including Wayfarer in the lawsuit. I'm not sure Justin can afford that lawyer on his own. Adding Wayfarer drags in the billionaire financier. Yes. Because this man has invested millions of dollars in this production company. And do you think he's going to let it go? This man is a billionaire. Yes, Ryan and Ryan has a lot of money and all this other stuff. But the thing about billionaires, they have connections beyond connections, beyond people who are millionaires. They've got big connections. Millionaires have connections, and you probably have the same connections or some of the same. But he has different levels of power. You think about how these billionaires these Mark Zuckerbergs and all of them band together, and the power that they wield over Congress to be able to get TikTok banned and taken down, because they want to take over TikTok, because they want that particular algorithm. They want to be able to control the narratives like they can do. The narratives are controlled on Facebook and the narratives are controlled on IG. They want to be able to control those narratives. So I'm quite sure he has the money and all of that to do whatever. So they've got some decisions to make, because he might pull some stuff out of there, and that might be why they're scrubbing their IG, because Lord knows what he's going to pull up. He has the money to be able to hire the best investigators to pull up whatever. Ryan Reynolds is from Canada. We know what about all of his dalliances is in the United States. We don't know what he was doing in Canada. They're meeting with the judge for plan out the trial next month. But yes, the actual trial won't happen until next year. Got you. $15 million in legal fees. And those of us regular folks, $15 million would change, would literally, if we could get it and have it tax free and spend it the way we want to spend it, the way that would change our lives around here. And they did that in legal fees. Ooh, child. Interesting. I am so interested, and see, when you talk about the people getting dragged in it, because see, this is one of those things that Marvel and Disney could get dragged into this as well. Because I want to see I'm interested to see those notes. Because now we've understood that you were trying to make this like an Oppenheimer and Barbie type of collab, and we see Ryan Reynolds doing the interview for over there. Questions need to be asked, because we hear about intimacy coordinators, even though intimacy coordinators exist. Why would an intimacy coordinator be put forth in that scene in Deadpool and Wolverine? It's getting to this point. It's getting to this point. It's almost like you do have to have, I don't know if necessarily a lawyer, but you do have to have somebody on set that's watching. It's almost like you need to have somebody recording the recording. Like a big old recording in the sky, like the what's the name of those cameras that they use on football fields that zoom back and forth? You need one of those kind of cameras to go across there, because you got to be able to keep track of everything that's going on. It wasn't a good look, because if you can lie for something that didn't require for you to lie about, yeah. So if they're gonna, if they're going to settle, they're gonna have to. Somebody's gonna have to apologize to somebody. And I don't know, because and I could see him not dropping that lawsuit with the New York Times, because if they get them to settle and they can admit that the stuff that they put in there was fabricated, I don't know what's going to happen with the New York Times. And it takes so much to set up a shot. You have the art of filmmaking has to be appreciated. We look at an hour and a half film, And we don't realize that there was probably in that hour and a half film, you probably had 40,000 hours that went into that hour and a half film from all the people that worked on the set. You count up the hours that they had to work. You have to count the fact that in post production, how they had to edit the stuff right. It's a whole lot of stuff. You have a when you just have a little bit of information behind the scene, it gives you so much more appreciation about when you watch a movie and you start thinking about, wow, what made them think about that shot? How did they move here? Who wrote this scene? It's a lot of appreciation that you can have it there. He's sad. Well, honey, he doing good right now. He got Megan good. He doing fine. He's but I can tell you the situation that was that made me go over that was the police told one story in the beginning, and if you followed that trial, you realize they didn't even put all that information in. When the police were talking and coaching her to say certain things, they took that all out of the thing, out of the transcripts. I mean, not the transcript, but they took that out of the trial. They didn't even allow them to hear they didn't allow the courtroom to hear the sound of all of that. But it was sad how whenever the day it was announced, 2 days later, all the roles and things that he had lined up was gone, and he hadn't even gone to court yet. It was, it's now you're guilty and you have to prove yourself innocent instead of you're innocent until you're proven guilty. And so I that opened my eyes to the fact that no, we have to get better than that. I understand people say believe all women, but you also, until you start getting information that's coming in, because that blanket statement can get you can move women who do, and I'm not even going to call it the sisterhood. It allows for women who can manipulate easily to manipulate a system like that. And those are the women that I don't have much respect for, because true victims can't get their story told or can't get their story put out there, because there's always someone who's trying to hit a lick somewhere. There's always that person. Oh, well, if she's doing it, let me see if I can get this. I'm gonna read a few more comments and then I'm gonna go, because we've been on here 2 hours. Who would have expected that a scene that was so innocuous would turn into what is a SH? Sexual harassment allegation. How can artists be artists if they are calculating every breath? And that comes from you having someone who is manipulative. And that's the problem that I have. Use your powers for good. Because sometimes it's a good thing to be a good manipulator. There are different career paths that you can take for that. But when you do that only in the sense of you're trying to ruin somebody. She gives me that she has always been able to get what she wants when she wants it. She's coupled with someone where that doesn't happen, but she's coupled up with someone whose net worth is 5, 10, 15 times more than what her net worth is. Yeah, I mean, and less the he was taken out when you had all these other people who were doing all of these little different things. Same with, and don't mishear me, because I know a lot of people want to mishear me or misconstrue what I am saying, because domestic violence is not cool at all. But what also is not cool is that even before you get into a court of law, you're losing all of this stuff, and that's not cool. Hmm. I don't know. In that settlement, some apologies are going to have to be given. I'm telling you, apologies are going to have to do it. Yeah. The rules are different depending on who you are. And she's going to have to reconcile with that, because didn't she filed the civil rights complaint. Now, is that civil rights complaint? Now, let me know real quickly. Is that civil rights complaint still out there, or did she drop it and then put the lawsuit in? I don't think she's a victim. I think she thrives on wielding her power. Her personality is someone who is, she likes to be the center of attention. And once she realizes that she has a sort of level of power to wield, she uses that to continue to stay the center of attention. Because hence why she didn't want to come back in January. Well, I'll just leave. And that's when I put my petty joke out there. We'll go, because we can get Scarlett Johansson, and she'd probably make this and it would be real funny that you lost your job to your husband's ex. Oh, he removed the nice pool stuff. Mm-hmm. And I believe you when you said that Disney probably told him to take it down. Take it all down. We're not to be associated with that. This was so creepy. Why was Ryan doing promos with the other actors? Ryan's mother and Hugh Jackson was there too. Sony, why would you think that would be okay? What did you think was happening? That was going to get you free press and promo? Shout out to Alexander Rogers. You thought that was going to get you some free press and some free promotion? Come on now. Everything looks creepy. You got his mama in on it too. His mama? Mm, mm, mm. Well, she can't distance herself too far. She the godmama. She can stay over there in Kansas City and root her man on. But she probably if I don't know, I haven't been watching paying attention to football, but if Kansas City goes back to the Super Bowl, I don't think Blake Lively will have a seat. Taylor Swift claims she didn't know who JB was. Then why would she hype up Blake BL's BL aka Ryan Writes Rewrites? She's lying. There's a video Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds saying she helped them with the film. And there is we read in the lawsuit when he talked about that there were people there while while Ryan Reynolds was going off. No, excuse me. That Justin Baldoni said that he was confronted by her dragons when they were talking about the rewrite. So she knew who he was because he came to the house. Thank you so much, Kai. And they named the billionaire, insinuating that he wanted to see her naked. The birth scene. He was the one that came on. Was he the one that came on set and was the doctor? And thank you so much for the $6.99. I really do appreciate you supporting the channel. Was he the friend? Or was this something different? Why weren't they sued? Because I saw, and shout out to Justin Baldoni and his family for making the most of that situation, where they're plopped down in the basement. How embarrassing that is for him to have a film that he has worked his, at least a good part of 5 to 6 years on, getting all the stuff, and you invite this woman to be on your film, and then you get relegated to the basement. How embarrassing and humiliating that looks with your family. And they know what you have done. For you to be in the basement where the doggone ceiling tiles are out, and you're sitting down there with the Dasani water and the pop, little bitty popcorn and stuff like that. How sad. And how extremely cruel of Blake Lively and the rest of those people, acting like you couldn't be in a theater on one side of the theater and his family be on the other side of the theater where you can review this show. No way in the world you're gonna make me believe that you would be surrounded so much by your family that would intimidate you. Get on my nerves. Yes, and here's the thing. And this lawsuit not only is just between like Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. Look at all the different areas in the entertainment business that is intersecting. Now you've got an intersecting talent agency. So you mean to tell me that you have all these people who are under one talent agency and 2 or 3 of them can convince you to get rid of another one? That doesn't look good in Hollywood. That doesn't look good for the entertainment business. You've got an actor, writer, director who, when he gets pissed off, he does a skit in another movie that's made $1 billion. Now you put that on jeopardy. Now you put to the fact that people will not want to work with you or have any type of parasocial relationship with you because you're going to put them in a movie. And then you look at Sony as this big conglomerate, movies, music, all kinds of entertainment, acquiescing to Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively. Oh, I forgot. You all have a multi-million-dollar deal with this man. He's the talent. You don't want to get on his bad side. But at the cost of somebody else? You're the check writer. You're one of the check writers. If I was Wayfair, I would sue Sony. They allowed that. That woman had so much power but could not change the marketing plan. Sure, Jan. She didn't want it changed to focus on DV because she wouldn't be able to sell her drink mix and her hair products. And that was the whole point of the marketing plan. She knew at the point, but once they signed that 17 point, whatever it was, and didn't fight back on it, because like I said, you hadn't been filming in 3, 4, 5, 6 months. What's a good 2 or 3 days or 2 or 3 weeks to iron out this particular deal? And that's the dangerous thing about this idea of, quote, believe all women. I don't think we should disbelieve anyone, but we cannot punish the accused without getting both sides first. Exactly. And if you have not been on the receiving end of something, and then you know that you're innocent and no one believes you until it all comes out, you don't understand this type of thing. No. I have seen men who had to lose their livelihood fooling around with this believe all women, and then they're being manipulative because they want them to lose their job, they want them to go to jail, they want to do this. And then because this is what I have seen, someone accused a lady accused a man of inappropriate behavior. I'm not going to speak out what it is. This man was jailed, he lost his job. It took him probably almost a year to recover. And after he lost his job, after he did all of those other things, he's having to go to court. She never showed up. She was their only quote unquote witness. She got up and moved on with her life, but his life was destroyed because she was pissed off and she was mad. And I've seen the other side where there was a woman that had inappropriate behavior happen, and how hard she had to fight because of the fact there's so many manipulative women who are using these things for their own gain and their own stuff, and how hard it was for that. It's when you see it when you get to see it from the both sides, it's like live your lives in shades of gray, not black and white, because you'll miss stuff. You will miss it if you will miss it. There are so many people that will be able to manipulate you and manipulate the things that you do. Sit back. Just because I don't, and don't let the world of social media bait you into that too, because that's what happens a lot. People want you to take sides. All right, people. Y'all, we do this every week. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to get on out of here. I'm going to see what's going on with this ASAP Rocky case. Hold up. Did you hear about that Bachelor case where a woman claimed to be pregnant? I'm going to say this. This is what I'm going to say. Maybe there's more to this story. I know from taking health classes that sperm travels. That's why, ladies and gentlemen and stuff like that, if the process, if the explosion happens anywhere around that little system down there they swim. And they have the ability to be able to swim because that's what their job is, to swim. That's why, when people tell you, oh, well, I wasn't doing anything, but, there was no penetration. I can believe that, but I don't believe anything is swimming from your mouth down there. And y'all let me know if you're able to take it and spit it out of me. We're not going to even get there. But no, I have not heard that case. This is ridiculous. That sounds crazy to me. That just sounds crazy to me. Yes. And once you see it happen on both sides, there's no way in the world. When I hear the stuff, I'm like, okay, I'm waiting for the next piece of this. I'm waiting for the next piece of this to see what's going on, and then I can make the best decision that I can make. Or I'll say all the time, well, let me wait to see what's going on in trial. Oh, I believe that they're a court case. I believe they're probably going to court, but I'm just trying to, in my head, I'm trying to figure out how you going to stand up there in court and say, how did it get to where it was and you got pregnant? Are we doing any DNA tests? There was no encounter. There was no explosion in around the vaginal system. Because I can believe that. Exactly. Because once it hits the once they hit the stomach, and that hydrochloric acid in the stomach, that's a wrap. That is a wrap. Like I said, Unless you convince me that you took it and you spit it around your vaginal system somewhere in there, I don't know. I couldn't. There's just no way that you can tell me that it went this way and went down and you became pregnant. Because again, we as a nation, we are starting to our education system is starting to fail us because we're so busy trying to be religious that we're not teaching people what they need to know. We're just saying don't do it. Teach the people what they need to know so they can be able to make the decision. Okay, I can't do that because that'll happen. Wow. Because I know of a case where the only thing that was like wow that I used to think was impossible, but it happened in real life for me. I knew somebody that did not know that they were pregnant until they went to the emergency room in pain. They had never been pregnant before, but they did not know that they were pregnant because their body didn't change. She didn't get the swelling of the stomach. Did she gain some weight? She did, but the weight was very evenly it was just like she went from like a size 6 to a size 10, I mean a size 8. Then you go to the hospital and you have boop, a nice little bouncing baby boy. So anyway, y'all, we do this every week. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Also, I'm going to be reading. I got my hands on the lawsuit that Chris Brown has for for Warner Brothers and Discovery. I am going to be reading that later on today. We're going to review that and see what's going on. I'm going to see if this ASAP Rocky case is still going on. And probably, I don't know if I'm going to put it up because, again, I'm probably so much behind. But on Monday, I'll probably review it and go over with that because I do want to hear the opening statements from the defense. I'm going to be reviewing that. Like I said, I'm still going to be following this case, the information in the lawsuit and all the sensational stuff. I do appreciate you rocking with me. I do appreciate once again Victoria and Kai for investing in my channel. It's much appreciated. So y'all, please tell a friend, tell a kin, tell a coworker, tell that heifer that you can't stand that I'm over here making these videos. And as always, people, y'all have a good evening and bye-bye.